Yeah, thanks, Adriana, for the introduction. Yeah, I'm really glad to be here today, to be invited, so thanks for that. Yeah, there are two projects I wanted to present. One project is already done, the PV4EAG, and the WAMOS is currently going on at Lake Wörthersee, so nearby. But first of all, we are talking about spatial data a lot, and what's special about it. I just want to give a short overview here to show why spatial data is particularly relevant. Oh, now I have the same issue. Yeah. And I just noticed that all the keywords are gone of this view, but yeah, I will manage. The thing is, spatial data has certain patterns, certain relationships depending on neighborhood. It has, of course, location-based, special data sources, for example, satellite images or others. And of course, also challenges. We have measurement errors, for example, or open data sources like open governmental data we mentioned earlier. We have a lot of pre-processing steps to do to be able to analyze it then afterwards. So here I want to show you two real-world applications or projects where we try to find method to analyze the environment. So first of all, this project I already mentioned, PV, maybe you heard of it. It's short for photovoltaics. So it's a way to generate energy or give energy supply. And also here you can see on the images 4 different ways of doing so. So these are different PV types. The first image here, oh, yeah, it's working. This is a special way of collecting it because it's a double use in agricultural areas. Then here we also analyze building integrated types. And this is not really common in Austria yet, but in Switzerland, for example, to also have structures on, floating structures on water bodies. So floating PV. Yeah, so. And yeah, EAG, maybe you heard of it for EAG. It's Erneuerbaren Ausbaugesetz. It's very important in Austria. So this all is the motivation for this project. We try to find for these special alternative photovoltaics suitable areas in Styria. That's the goal of it. So, yeah, what is photovoltaic potential? There are different types of potential, of course. We have the physical potential. The sun gives us the energy, basically. So we have the solar irradiation. We have the geographical potential. And where the location, of course, is main topic. The surface properties, is it shaded or not? The land use, for example. And then we have the technical potential. And at last, the economic potential, of course. Yeah, our part in this whole project was the geographical part, which I'm glad of. And other partners also they took a look at the technical parts and economic parts. So project duration was until 2024, so it's already done, basically. We developed the method, and it's usable for Styria and also for Austria, because we already have the databases in Austria for that. Yeah, funding, most important thing in research projects. Thanks for the support from FFG. At this place, yeah. So I also created a map showing the test areas for this project. So test areas or selecting test areas is also challenging when it comes to spatial analysis, because we try to create a method for finding areas, but it's difficult to just take all the data from Styria or Austria and then taking this as sample, because it's just too much. It's a big data, and here the challenge is to select test areas that really represent Styria, so that it's also statistically representative. So here we selected 5% of Styria area, and also considered data availability, of course, and we heard of it earlier, the rural-urban typology, so also density of population. And we took that also into account to select the test areas. Yeah, I love this slide because it shows how complex the whole analysis is. We have, I mean, this is just really a short insight, but we have a lot of, how to say, yeah, this stuff, flow charts, whatever work we do, we document like that, and we have different PV types, so we also have different criteria, of course, and we have to handle it separately. We have criteria like protected areas. We have zones like danger zones we have to keep in mind, depending on the type. And here you can see example results. So in the end, we have also maps. Green means good, suited. This is, for example, a parking area that's really suited. Floating PV we have here, also lakes are suited. Here you can see in red not suited areas. For floating PV it is that this littoral zone on the outside, so the boundary is not suited, that you can see here, or small lakes, for example. We separated also the analysis in horizontal and vertical. So when it comes to vertical PV, I will show you there is also something else to consider. So in detail, I want to give you insight in an AI approach we did. It's about predicting shadows, so about physical potential, and the approach for floating PV to analyze stable water currents. Shortly about extracting suitable facades for building integrated PV, and all in common is final multi-criteria decision analysis. In our case, it's a spatial one. So, yeah. This is also a nice image. I forgot the legend, but yellow means sun, bright sun. So we have light, no shadow, and the dark areas means shadow. So we also tried to use a UNet, so it's a neural network to predict shadows. And here you have just a sample raster set. This is our ground truth. So this should be the result from our prediction. And we tried this method with several thresholds. And here you can see our results. So, yeah. It's a first try, and in research, I guess that's really something. But let's see. Yeah. The special thing about this, we used a method that's usually within medicine. It's used to classify medical images, so that's the point. We used it for geospatial, in a geospatial context. So we used these height models and raster sets we have for that. And what we also heard in the first session, the method to augment data, to just gain more training data, because you saw our test data is really limited. We just have 5% of Styria. So we augmented it by just rotating the tiles. Yeah, that was one thing we did here. When it comes to floating PV, most important is also stable water. And here we used this Send2Cube. Maybe some of you heard about it. It's a semantically enriched data hub or data cube with all the Sentinel data from 2018 until 2023. And there we analyzed our sets, our data sets, our shape files we see, so our lakes, these boundaries, according to water classes over this whole time. So we have here temporal and spatial features to consider. So here we see the result within our boundaries, and also we compared it to the open governmental data, so if the shapes are really matching, if it's really stable water, what we have here. Then next approach I want to show is about vertical PV. Here the challenge was to have this, you can see the raster, this gray areas. It means shadows, not shadows. Here you can see trees, for example. The red polygons are the buildings. And the challenge was to somehow map the shadow we have to the facades. So our method is to first separate the facades, so have separate polygons or lines, and then classify them, giving a south indication, so it's the southness we define, and then map 1 meter, so we have a buffer zone, map this to the facade. So this you can see here. The blue ones, or the lighter, it's more suitable. So with the southness indicator, of course, it makes sense that this is more suitable here in the south. Yeah. And here you see how we define one facade. If we have, for example, different heights of shadow at one facade from certain objects, our method is to do a mean shadow height and then have a measurement for one whole facade. Yeah, the multi-criteria analysis I mentioned. We have a mass of data, and it's from different data types. So we have rasters, we have polygons, we have points, we have lines, and everything comes together. And the special thing here is that we rasterized everything to 1 meter by 1 meter raster. Map this criteria to this raster, so we used this to assign them weights. So we have at each raster cell a weight, a certain weight score, and then put everything together. And in the end, we have this MCDA score here, so with this green areas for suitable and red for not suitable. Yeah, that was an insight to photovoltaics project. Now let's go to WAMOS. WAMOS means a wave monitoring system, and it's special because we have GNSS and ENS integration. This means we are using GNSS means the position of the buoy, for example, like we have it here, and also ENS, it means inertial measurement system is also integrated. And the goal is to develop an approach to determine at Lake Wörthersee whether boat waves or, for example, other factors are relevant for the decrease in water quality. So here we have the bioindicator macrophytes. I don't know if you know this plant, but it's a water plant, and the method is very multidisciplinary. We have the acquisition of boat traffic. We are doing via drones and images, and also we use meteorological data, so wind measurements, and also monitoring test plants or also natural plants to see if there is a change in the vegetation. And this nice L structure here is our measurement system. It consists of several buoys I want to show you. On the next slide here we have our partners. I already told you it's interdisciplinary, so we have cause assessment, we also have impact assessment, and this wave height determination. And all in all, we have to develop measurements for Land Kärnten so that they can, for example, protect several natural sites at Lake Wörthersee, for example, or decrease boat traffic. Thanks. This is also funded by the FFG within the funding line Austrian Space Application Program. Yeah, I mentioned already our sensor system. It consists out of this L shape for a certain reason. I want to show you here. This is our master buoy. So here we also have a reflector mounted there to have reference measurements. And we already heard about this inertial measurement units already at the first session with this measurements of accelerations. And here we see why the L shape is important. Here we see how the wave propagation is according to this output here, perpendicular to the shore. So here we really see how the wave moves from one buoy to another. And here we have it parallel to the shore. As an example, we have really fast boat here at Lake Wörthersee, the Super Aeronautic GS22, one of our favorites at the test measurements. So there we really can see a wave, and we don't have to separate wind from boat wave a lot. So yeah, yeah, work in progress. We are currently filtering the waves. So we did a lot of measurements. We are currently filtering the waves from wind waves and boat waves to make here assumptions and correlate the collected data. And we also planned further measurements at Lake Wörthersee this summer. And now you maybe have the question, a few measurements cannot give a whole picture of one lake. So yeah, we are also doing a lake model. So to use this measurement data to really model the boat traffic, including wind, for the whole lake. So one partner, Cobus and partner, is doing this currently. So what are the challenges for each project? Well, for PV4EAG, it is, of course, using existing open data and pre-process the whole data, and also to select a test area that is representative, and also to find and map the criteria for PV types. And also working with 3 data is a small challenge here. And of course, it should be somehow transferable for whole Austria. For WAMOS, it is, we are doing a lot of measurements by ourselves. So we have measurement campaigns to handle and model it. And model the conditions of an entire lake ecosystem. That's here the challenge. And also to find the parameters to describe this environment. We are working with spatio-temporal data and correlations. That's also a point here. We have to synchronize time, for example. And also the method should be transferable to other lakes. The overall challenges are, it should be somehow, the results should be a basis for decision making. So it has to be trustworthy what we are producing here. And also, we should present the results so that it's easy to understand. And during our project work, it's also, we are working with a lot of partners, and it's really necessary to find a common language but also a common spatial language so that we talk from the same stuff. Yeah, and when it comes to spatial data science, it's of course different if you learn what it is in theory and then have several projects to deal with and try to somehow keep that in mind. So that's one challenge I want to end with that, yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, I guess you do not need any further conviction that location is important and that those projects couldn't even exist without location being upfront. We have time for 2 or 3 short questions.
So thanks a lot for the presentation, really nice topic. So you were mentioning the suitability score of some facade, yeah?
Yeah.
And then you told us that you use some sort of mean value of the suitability.
Exactly.
Isn't this an oversimplification in some way? Because if, for example, a huge tree covers a part of the facade, then the whole facade maybe gets a bad score, even though some parts of it would be perfectly suitable for installing a PV device.
Yeah, the point is that the resolution of the data is 1 meter, and we somehow try to give an overview of what facade is potentially suitable. And it also depends on the height of a facade. Some facades are just not considered because they have, for example, not the height we need. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure.
Thank you. We have a question from online.
Yes, we have 2 questions from our online community, from Joe. First of all, great presentation and very timely topic. Is there any implementation where the results of PV4EAG are used in practice?
Implementation in terms of software or?
I assume.
Yeah, our results and the method is public, and the Land Steiermark plans to use it and also make it public to the people. So I don't know if they will really produce a tool out of it or not, but yeah, it is planned, I think. So from our side, it can be implemented, yeah.
There's a second, yeah?
And the second question
also, yeah. You use AI algorithms for shadow generation, which can be done by contemporary GIS as well.
Yeah.
And what are the advantages of the AI approach versus the GIS approach?
Yeah, that was one main question. We have a small publication about that. And that's why I mentioned it's research. We have a certain freedom to try out stuff or approaches. And I would recommend to use QGIS or other GIS for that purpose, because our approach takes 10 times longer. So, yeah, in this case, our approach is not the thing here, but it was really good to have it and to, yeah, make research in this area too.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll need to stop the discussion here. Franziska, thank you again one more time. And
thank you.